a new rise.
If somebody lift those hands,
It's a new rise.
I need you to speak it over your own life
It's a
tonight.
new rise.
It's a new rise.
Hello, 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 and welcome to the Propel Deep Dive. I'm Megan DiMartino, and I'm thrilled that you're here with us today. Today will be a session that is very unique, and you'll hear that as we have a conversation. And I say we, my guest, Nick Yerhart. And I met Nick virtually. We both participated with Carrie Connolly in her Visionary Entrepreneur virtual summit a couple of weeks back, and we connected there and went on to have a conversation, and I invited Nick onto the deep dive, and I knew as I knew that he needed to share his story with you. It is not just a story of overcoming, but it's a story of perseverance, and it's a story that no matter what has been in his path, he has set his mindset to move forward. So the deep dive is part of the Propel program. The Propel program has many components. It has a 5-segment course, which you can go to megandimartino.com and propel.megandimartino.com/info and find it, but also the Propel community. And the Propel community is a robust community of education and inspiration. And it is what I've really curated for you to start, scale, and sustain the business and life of your dreams. And so I welcome you to join me in the Propel community. It is free, and you can just go to the propel.megandimartino.com/info and find the Propel community and go to that link and join immediately. But you can also go and look at the program, the Propel Your Business and Life Activation Program. But I'm also very excited. This is the first time I'm mentioning it online with you guys, is the Propel program that I've put together called the Queen's Court. And the Queen's Court is going to be this June 4th and 5th, here in the Austin, Texas area, Georgetown specifically, which is just a bedroom community of Austin where I live and my clinic is and has been for the last 20 years. And it's called the Queen's Court Bold Business Experience with Leaders, Legends, and You. And I cannot wait for you to join us for a 1-day, 2-day, or the VIP. And Angeline will be putting up the link right now for it. We have sponsorship availability, and it will go live probably tomorrow or Wednesday to buy tickets. But we will be having an early bird ticket, and we will be having an affiliate program. Oh my goodness, this is revolutionary, where you share with your friends, your family, your colleagues, and to join us together. What better way to start, scale, sustain, and sell your business, meaning that information, but to share it with people that are your, not specifically tribe, but people that you work with, that you want to expand your horizons with. So it's going to go, the whole program is put together. So go to that landing page, and the sponsorship availabilities are there as well. So this is the Queen's Court, honoring the women of the Bible who started it all. They are those powerhouses, but there were men behind them. So it's not just a women's conference. It's for us all. So I look forward to having you with us, and you'll have more information as time goes on. But to purchase tickets will go live this week. So without further ado, I'd like to introduce to you my guest for this week's Propel Deep Dive, Nick Yerhart. Yerhart, right? Yerhart.
Yep.
Amelia Yerhart, Nick. Yes.
Yerhart.
I'm sure you get
Thank
that.
you. Thank you so much for having me on the show.
Oh, my goodness gracious. Thank you for being on this with me. I just truly loved our connection. I loved, visiting with you, Nick, and hearing your heart and your spirit. 2019, I wrote a book. It's called Propel. It's called Hope and Possibilities, Just Over the Horizon. And it's never too early or too late to create the life of your dreams. And
Yep.
you are such a hope and possibilities guy. And that is what I look for. People ask me all the time, Nick, how do you know? I mean, there's only so many weeks in the year to have a guest on. And
Mhm.
people ask me all the time, how did I know to invite XYZ person? And I say, well, I really don't have any premeditated plan other than when Holy Spirit says, have that person, I reach out and invite that person to join me. And because this is, as I said in the intro, this is going to be up on the Propel, in the Propel community forever, and it's going to be on YouTube forever. So people can go to it and go back to it and listen to it. So what I would love you to do, and because again, we've been doing these live since March of 20, so a long time now.
Mhm.
And so anyone that knows this, and there's always new people, of course, and you're going to introduce it to your colleagues. But what people that know me, Nick, know that I want to give you the floor, and I will then. I know enough about your life that I can jump in and ask questions. But I'd
Mhm.
like to share with our guests a little bit about young Nick, where we were born, a little bit about your family that you shared with me, and then anything else you'd like to share with that, and then where you are today, meaning what that did to bring you to today, and then where do you want to go from here?
All right. Sounds good. So I was born in Austin, Minnesota. Now I was not born like most pe- people. I was actually born dead. I had no heartbeat. I wasn't breathing. Nothing. Thankfully, they revived me, obviously, and I'm here today. But when I was around 1 years old, I was diagnosed with cerebral palsy, and that was because of when I was born. Lack of oxygen for so
Mhm,
long, it does
mhm,
have an effect on the brain.
mhm,
So, right away that was scary for my mom, and she was very young, so she didn't really know what to do.
mhm,
And for the next few years, the doctors would tell my parents I would never walk, I might not talk, I would be dependent on somebody else my whole life. And, as a parent, I can only imagine how hard that is to hear.
mhm,
But thankfully, my parents did not take the doctor's word to heart, and they decided to figure out what their son could do for himself on their own. So my whole childhood, my parents would push me to figure out what I could and couldn't do. And there are a lot of things that I don't like to say I can't do, but I shouldn't do just for safety reasons.
mhm,
But the doctors did say I would never walk, and I started walking when I was like 5 years old, and
mhm,
I've been walking ever since.
mhm,
So that was like my first big milestone in my life, and it's the first thing that showed me that I can do more than what other people say that I can do. And that's kind of what I'm all about nowadays, is helping people understand that they're not limited by what people say they can or can't do. You have the power to be and do anything that you want. And a lot of people just don't understand that, and it's sad. So that's why I'm on a mission to help, literally a billion people
mhm.
get that mindset shift and truly experience the life that they want.
That's wonderful. When we were chatting, you mentioned that well, right now you honored your parents and their commitment to you and commitment
Hmm.
to your life. You mentioned that your father was an entrepreneur
Yep.
and had his own business, and then it just very sadly and tragically passed away recently, not that
Yep.
long ago. Correct?
Yep.
and that you had been working with he and his company,
Hmm.
which was a family business, and so I, many people that are listening to us and will listen to us have gone through um, unplanned changes in their life. Let's just call it that. Meaning,
Yep.
I went through it with my husband passing from Lewy body syndrome. I
Mm.
had not been married for 30 years, and then decided, okay, this is a quality person. I could sense in my spirit that it was what God wanted. I married him in 2006, and he had a stroke in Christmas of 9, threw him into what's called Lewy body syndrome, which is a Parkinson's form of dementia,
Mm.
and he passed away in 11.
Wow.
So obviously that wasn't planned. And, but, we all have, as my mother would say, crosses to bear.
Hmm.
And so, that wasn't planned. Your father, it was a dynamic person and doing, you said my everything is how you put it to
Hmm.
me. And so that happened. And you did share that you went through a major, not only shift, but you, as you said just now, about wanting to help people understand that it is about mindset, but you went through a shift that you had to do some inner work to
Hmm.
get to that place. So why don't you share with our guests a bit about that? Because everyone has, again, things that are unplanned, a divorce, an illness, a spouse's illness, loss of job, whatever. Things
Hmm.
happen. And so why don't you share a little bit about that?
Yeah, so I just want to start by saying I worked with my dad for 10 years,
Mm,
and my life plan was to just take over his company eventually and just
mhm,
keep going with that. So when he was sick, as a family, we agreed it's better to sell the company than to keep on without him. So that's what we did.
mhm,
So after he passed away, I didn't have a job anymore. My whole life, just got turned upside down. It wasn't really a job. It was just what I did. Like I
right.
enjoyed it that
Mhm,
much.
mhm,
And thankfully, I did get hired for, with another company, which was awesome. But, during that 3 years that I was with them, I felt like something was missing. Obviously, I lost my dad, the guy
mhm,
that I looked up to more than anyone, and the person that I could call if I needed anything. So not having that was extremely difficult.
mhm,
But then the company that I was working for, they started talking about selling the company. Well, then I was like, oh crap, I'm gonna be in the same spot I was in
mhm,
before, and that's when I started to experience a lot of depression, and I think that's when I really started to grieve from the loss of my dad.
mhm,
Literally, like 2.5 years after he passed,
mhm,
I stayed strong for my mom and my sister, and
mhm,
I didn't allow myself to heal the way that I needed to heal.
mhm,
So at that time, I got very down, like very down, suicidal thoughts, and I just did not like the life that I was living anymore.
mhm,
And I don't know what happened. It was one morning I woke up, you know, when you're at that point where you just don't want to get out of bed for anything.
mhm,
That's where I was,
mhm,
and I was just like, all right, Nick, something has to change, or you're not gonna be around because
mhm,
I've been thinking just you know make everything go away if you know
mhm,
what I mean.
mhm,
And so that day, I was like, all right, how can I help myself? How can I heal? How can I get back to the way I was, happy and do that without everything I had, do that without my dad, without a
Mhm,
company. How am I
mhm,
going to do that? Now, at that point, I thought it was impossible. I thought I was climbing a brick wall. Like I did not see any way out. But I took it upon myself to start. Just start. That's how I like to put it. Like just do something that's gonna get you closer to your goal.
mhm,
So I ended up finding a podcast which is called The Mindset Mentor by Rob Dial. And honestly, I owe that podcast my life because I don't know if I'd still be here if I wouldn't have found it.
wow,
So I found that podcast. It's all about improving your mindset. Stop beating yourself up. Stop the negative talk. All of that. I literally listened to that podcast. I think for 3 to 4 days straight. Like
mhm,
every hour I was awake, I had that
mhm,
podcast on,
mhm,
and I slowly started to learn the little tools and tricks you need to get yourself out of that dark, depressed hole and
mhm,
back up into a person that you want to be. And it didn't happen overnight. Like it
mhm.
took. I'm still improving myself. It's
Sure.
not something that you have an end goal. It's something that you keep doing your whole life. So I'm still improving, but through that journey is when I realized I can help people. I can stop relying on another company for my income, and I can start relying on myself.
Mhm.
And that's kind of where it all began.
Wow. And well, first off, how long ago was that? When that epiphany day of finding that podcast by Rob? How long
So
ago was that?
that was I wrote in 2021.
Okay, for a
So
while then.
my dad passed in September of 2019.
Okay.
So the couple of years after that.
Hmm. So, as you said, Nick, and that's another important piece that you really didn't give yourself time to grieve your
Mhm.
father's passing, because you then jumped into that while your father was ill. That's when the family decided to sell the business. So
Yep.
that had already happened when he passed. And so then you jumped into that other job
Mhm.
and very quickly, as you said, so you didn't give yourself time to grieve. So that's an important piece
Yeah.
to recognize that. I'm just talking to our guests now, that
Mhm.
it's an important piece when trauma happens or that sadness and shift happens, that you need to recognize it. You can't just put it under the carpet because it will bubble up. It will.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. And what transpired. And so what would you say, because I was just about to say this, and then I said, but no, this might be part of it. But because I will say this, oftentimes setbacks are setups for comebacks. We've heard that, you know, that quote.
Mhm.
And so I look at you, that company out of the blue, so to speak, almost mirroring what was happening with your family's business, right? Here you have a job, you're enjoying it, doing similar work, and all of a sudden they're talking about selling.
Yep.
So, what were just a few keys that you said you learned from listening to Rob, and I'm sure you continue to, and that you've applied to your own work, helping others?
So for me, I think I don't think I know. The biggest thing that I learned from Rob is stop caring about what other people think of you.
Mm-hmm.
My whole life living with cerebral palsy, I was always ashamed to walk around because I walk different.
Mm-hmm.
People stare. Um, I wouldn't order food at a restaurant because I was too nervous to talk to the waiter to order the food. I would
Mm-hmm.
just sit there and stutter like the whole time.
Mm-hmm.
And once I started to develop that little tool of, okay, like say I'm all walking around and somebody's staring at me. What they're actually thinking versus what I think they're thinking, I think they're thinking something way worse than they actually are.
Yes,
I
exactly.
guarantee it. Yeah.
Yes.
So once I was just like, who cares? I know who I am. I love myself now at that point.
Hmm.
And why do I care about what some stranger is thinking about me? I should live my life the way that I want to live in the way that makes it easier for me.
Hmm.
Because, like, at restaurants, I would eat more difficultly because I didn't want to, show my disability more than I had to. Now
Hmm.
I go, sometimes I'll eat like a dog. I don't care. Like, I don't care anymore. Like, it's just, why make life harder than it
Right.
has to be, especially when you eat? So
Yes.
that was the biggest shift, is just
Hmm. Hmm.
not caring about what other people thought.
Right. Yes.
And then another one is, you know, we all have that negative self-talk
Hmm.
about ourselves, and that might not go away completely, but you can learn to reframe that into a positive self-talk. So this is what you can start doing today that will help this. Every time that you have a negative self-talk, you say, "Oh, I look bad. My hair looks bad, or I'm fat, whatever."
Hmm.
Recognize it. Number one, first you have to recognize when you're doing it,
Hmm.
and then stop yourself and turn that into a positive thought.
Hmm.
Think of something positive about yourself,
Hmm.
because your first thought, it comes from your subconscious.
Hmm.
You can't really help it, but you can always control your second thought.
Hmm.
So once you start doing that more and more, you start to talk to yourself a whole lot nicer, and it makes your whole world a lot better.
Hmm. Wow. Yes. Okay. So you started doing not only uh, having that epiphany moment
Hmm.
and pouring that information into your conscious and then your subconscious. Obviously, you then continued on doing other work to prepare yourself to start a mentoring consulting type of business.
Hmm.
Now, you used my favorite word, start.
Yeah.
And Angeline, my producer, my colleague, I mean, I'm sure she left when you said that, because I mentioned to you that, and I mentioned in the intro about the Queen's Court and the
Hmm.
Bold Business Experience to start, and tools to start, scale, sustain, and sell the business and life, and build your business and life of your dreams. And it's that, start word, because if you don't start, nothing's going to happen.
Yeah.
Nothing.
Yeah.
So it's those inner things that you just mentioned, several of, that hold us back to not actualize our dreams.
Hmm.
You know,
Yeah.
but the other piece to it is, and this is what I'd like to chat about, is you have to identify. That's what the Propel program is about. It's based on my 5 C's:
Hmm.
clarity, courage, confidence, commitment, and compassion. And I'm and so as you were speaking, people are listening, and I'm sure that one of the things that resonates with folks is that they say they might want to start something, but they're not sure what that should be.
Hmm.
So it is about helping individuals gain clarity. Okay.
Yeah.
So, how did you go from this inner work to clarity of knowing that you were going to create a business with this?
Well, that's it's kind of a funny story. So when I first decided to start my own business, I
Mhm.
wanted to start a real estate business. I wanted to buy apartments, and I was gonna start with like a duplex and then go to a fourplex, all of that.
Mm-hmm.
And that's how I started. So I started listening to podcasts around real estate, reading books, and all of that
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
because
You
I've
mentioned
always,
Grant Cardone. You
yeah,
mentioned Grant when we
and
spoke.
that's what led me to Grant Cardone. Is I started
Mhm.
getting into the real estate space,
I see. I see.
and I ended up getting a program from Grant Cardone, and it was just about how to start a business and grow it in 2022 or whatever it was.
Mm-hmm.
So I had already decided I'm gonna start a business. I started one which isn't even the business I have now. I
Mm-hmm.
changed the name, but I started Grant's program, and in that program, I had my own coach that was
Mm-hmm.
helping me discover my clarity around what I wanted to do.
Mm-hmm.
And through that, my coach finally asked me one day, he was like, Nick, have you ever thought about being a coach yourself? And I was like, nope, like, you're my first coach. I didn't really know what this was until
Yes.
I
Mm-hmm.
got you.
Mm-hmm.
So he's like, Nick, I want you just to think about it tonight and talk to me, the next time we talk.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, all right, because he's like, you have a way of connecting with people like
Mm-hmm.
nobody else. Your story is just remarkable,
Mm-hmm.
and you keep pushing through no matter what.
Mm-hmm.
So I was like, all right, I'll look into it. So I did, and I was like, huh, interesting. It turns out that I've been coaching my friends and family my whole life and not
Right.
getting paid for it. So hey,
Mm-hmm.
let's get paid for it. And yeah, that's how I
That's great.
decided to become a
Mm-hmm.
coach.
Mm-hmm. So was the individuals who is a trained coach who saw your potential in
Yep.
that. And that's
Mhm.
why we all are truly, like you said, you've been coaching people, not getting paid for it.
Yep.
But that's why it's so imperative to, we're all in this together, so to speak.
Hmm.
And I look at myself as an encourager to give people that hope, as I said earlier, hope and possibilities just over the horizon. You have to start, scale, you have to start, right?
Yep.
But you have to be clear on it,
Hmm.
and then that the compassion piece is forgiving self. It's like what you spoke about, and then the
Yep.
courage to take that step, and then commitment is never stopping,
Hmm.
and then the compassion is really again about yourself, because it's,
Yep.
yes, you need to be compassionate to others, but it's also compassionate to yourself, to give yourself that umbrage, that, I mean, not carrying that umbrage with you, that, oh my God, why did I do that, to let it go. And like you said earlier, so that is very exciting, and so that's fairly recent. And
Hmm.
so you're building this speaking and coaching, because you spoke on the Visionary Entrepreneur with Carrie
Yep.
Connolly. And I'm sure that there'll be other, and you probably have done others, but you mentioned to me when we were speaking about the Queen's Court, and you said, my partner and I, will be there. Now, is this a business partner?
Hmm. Yep.
Uh-huh. And
Yep.
so do you, um, so I'm not asking you to share your whole inner working of your business,
Mhm.
but, and now that we're friends on
Yeah.
social media, I see your fabulous posts and what
Hmm.
you do on social media. Would you say, and I'm asking you this for, again, everything is about our guests, to give them encouragement, to know that they too can do this,
Yep.
whatever that is, gain that clarity and whatever that is. But do you, how do you expand your reach? How do you let people know, getting on podcasts like this, obviously, and
Yeah.
speaking on events like Carrie's, but are there other things that you can share with our guests that you do?
Oh yeah. So for me, you know, one of my mentors is Grant Cardone. I'm actually a certified business coach through him.
Mhm,
And one of the things that he says is if they don't know you, they can't follow you. And that
mhm.
means become well known. If you're
Yes,
a business owner, the more people that know you, know about you, know how
right,
much you help people,
right.
the better you're going to do.
Mhm,
So, yes, it is awesome to get on podcasts like this and share your story. It's
mhm,
awesome to get on stages, virtual or physical. I do
mhm,
both of them.
mhm,
But I think one of the most powerful things you can do in this day and age is be everywhere on social media.
mhm.
I I post at least 5 videos every single day
Oh, wow.
on Facebook,
Oh, wow.
Instagram, TikTok, X, like all of them, YouTube, and the way I look at it is, why not? These platforms are free. You
Yeah,
don't have to. You don't have to pay for ads, which
right,
I don't recommend paying for ads until you have enough money where you can really pay for ads,
right,
if you know what
right.
I mean. But
Mhm,
just put yourself out there, share your story, tell people
mhm,
how you help others,
mhm,
and have your clients share their success stories that they had with you, and then
mhm,
post that. That
mhm,
I think that goes further nowadays than
mhm.
anything else.
hmm Yeah, I agree. I agree. And I'm not nearly as prolific as you, but but
Not
I'm
many
more,
people are.
no, that's probably true. But maybe Grant, but he has a
He
huge
is.
team behind him where you're doing this yourself.
Yep.
I would take it, yes.
Yep.
And so it's something that, I do okay,
Hmm.
but it's something that I know that needs to expand. I do know that because again, it's incumbent upon us that are encouraging others and have programs to help others, to help them know that there are tools to help them. Yeah, it
Yep.
really is incumbent upon us. So,
Exactly. And
yeah, go
I
ahead.
would like to add something.
Sure.
For entrepreneurs out there, business owners,
hmm
I think every business should have a podcast. I think podcasts are just an amazing way to share your story to your ideal clients.
Right.
And what I teach my clients, because all of my clients, I help them with their podcasts. That's one of the
Mhm,
things that I do.
mm,
And I tell them, have your podcast about your ideal client. Have it talk to them. Have
mhm,
it be something that they either want to hear or
mhm.
they want to talk about, because then your ideal clients are also your guests on your show. And that
Exactly.
just really helps your business so much.
Mhm, mhm,
And on top of all that, when you record a podcast episode, now you have countless short form videos that you can then post on your social media. So you're
right.
not always having to come up with new content. So
Exactly.
yeah.
No, exactly. My challenge is I don't have the skill set to do, your age is your advantage, meaning the skill set of what you do. You know what I mean? And so I do what I do in my own ability.
Hmm.
But hey, I'm always learning, and that's the other
Yep.
piece. It's just like what you said initially,
Hmm.
listening to Rob's Ron or Rob, what was his name?
Rob Dial.
Dial, like dial
Yep.
the turn the dial.
Yep.
Okay,
Yep.
we'll give
Rob.
him another plug, Rob Dial. And but it is, guys, what he is saying, what Nick is saying is, again, and to give Grant another plug, is one of his lines is, it's better to be it's about exposure. It's about best known than best.
Yep. Yep.
Yes. And I
Best
mean,
known
it's
the
about being
best.
out there. It's
Mhm.
about being out there, just getting
Yep.
people to know you, like you, and trust you.
Mhm.
And how better can that be than if they can hear you and see you in what you're
Yep.
saying about your programs? Well, I know that Angeline is streaming your website, and it is there for everyone to contact Nick, have him on your virtuals, have him on your stages, and also for your own needs. To help you be helped with your podcast, like you said, and be prolific like Nick in everything that you're doing, because that truly is, I'm sitting here, Nick, and I'm looking at the back wall here, and I'm in my studio, and this picture right here is the image, my original image for my first skincare brand, which was launched in 1992, Glycolique. So you talk about starting, scaling, and sustaining, a long, long time. But if you're doing what you love to do, and you touched on this a minute ago, that it's about sharing what you love to do. You shared that. So as I close, I always ask my guests this. One of my mentors and friends is Sharon Lechter, Think and Grow Rich for Women. She's on the Napoleon Hill Foundation. She was the co-author of Rich Dad, Poor Dad. She's just a straight up great gal. She has written an excellent book called Exit Rich. So again, about starting, scaling, sustaining, and selling. She will be at the Queen's Court speaking about that. But she has in her 3 Feet from Gold book, if you haven't read that, you should, because it really is about never giving up. And it's a fiction, but it has such powerful truth in it. But at the end, she shares her success formula, and it's action plus talent times association plus something plus faith equals success. But I always ask my guests, what is your passion and what is your talent?
So my passion is honestly helping others. However I can do that brings me more joy than any amount of money that I've made. It's when somebody posts a comment on one of my videos telling me how much I've helped them. That right there is why I do this. And I would say for you said my gift, is that what it
Your
was?
talent, what's your innate
Yeah.
talent?
Yep. My talent is problem solving. You can ask anybody. If there's a problem, I will figure out a solution. And I think that is because my whole entire life,
Yes.
I live with cerebral palsy every day. I can't do things like everybody else. So I always have to problem solve for myself to get things done. So I think that gift right there is why I'm here today and why I'm so good at what I do with my clients and the people that follow me. I can solve their problems and really help them out.
Wow. That is, as we close today, that is such a powerful close, because again, it is getting outside of yourself. You shared in the earlier part of our conversation how you were just so focused on the negative about yourself versus going within and seeing the positive of who you are. And so that is truly, guys, what you need to do, regardless of where you are. You need to go within and remember Nick and his story and his email. Nick Yerhart is right there trailing, and to reach out. So I know we're just beginning, my friend. God has a plan always. And I look forward to seeing what God has for us as well. So,
Me too.
yes, absolutely. Thank you, sir. And we will be in touch.
Thank you.
Thank you. Wow. You know, I know that I say this every week that I do the deep dive, the Propel deep dive, that wow, wow, wow. I mean, I get as much as you from visiting with my guests and sharing their lives. I'm just the conveyor of this information and this conversation, meaning putting all of this together and getting it out to you. But it's such a blessing to know these folks and to really, and I'm sure you would agree with me that 99%, I wouldn't say 100 because who knows, but 99% of everyone, one shape or form, says that their passion is you. It's mine. My passion is to help you, to understand, to identify what you want to do and help you actualize it in all of these fashions, you know, whether it is the Propel program, whether it is the Propel community. We now have the Novita. I mentioned the first brand glycolique, but when I sold that in 97, I started a new line called Novita, New Birth, New Life. That is now an affiliate program, so that fits into, and that information is also on the Propel community. We also have the health and wellness product called LifeWave, that stem cell activation, which I have been working with since 21. So there's so many ways that I can assist you. I've been a medical esthetician for 30 years and helping individuals build their salons and spas as well as my own. So I am here for you, to actualize, but also conceptualize, meaning with the Propel program, as well as the Propel community. And now I'm so excited about the coming Queen's Court, because we're all queens and kings, and we're working together. The Queen's Court of the Propel, the Bold Business Experience. And it is with leaders, legends, and you. So you'll receive, and the trailer about it is just going on. And so we'll be speaking about it as the weeks and months go by. So thank you so much for joining Nick and I on the Propel Deep Dive today. It's just a blessing to have you with us. And please share this out. When you're on YouTube, please subscribe, because that truly does help others to find us. And then share this link on Facebook and Instagram, as well as LinkedIn. So share this out to others, because it truly, the guests that are on this Propel Deep Dive are extraordinary. So join the Propel community. You won't be disappointed. You will not. And just go there and click the button and join us. So until the next time, we look forward to having you with us in the Propel world, and be blessed. Thank you.